What's up, everybody? So, today I'm gonna talk about the differences and similarities between Boccaccio and Geoffrey Chaucer. Alright, so let's start by saying that they were both from different countries. So, Geoffrey Chaucer was one of the most important and first English writers, and he was the first ever to write in Middle English. That's why he is called the father of English. Alright. And Boccaccio, in the other hand, is one of the most important Italian writers, and he is also one of the first one to write in Italian, in the Italian language, because after him, everyone used to write in dialects or Latin. So it was really difficult for the poets to understand each other. Alright. But there are also some differences. Wait just a second. Alright. There are also some key differences that we gotta understand before we talk further. So, first of all, they talk a different language, as I already said, and they wrote it differently. And their way of rhyming and writing was really different. So, for example, Chaucer used often 7-syllabled verses, while instead, and while he also wrote in prose and in English, and often a lot used also heroic couplets and other stuff, but mostly wrote in Middle English, Old English, if we can call it like that. When, in the other hand, Boccaccio really often wrote in prose, and he sometimes wrote in rhymes and verses, but he had a really different style of writing. He was a really complete poet and writer because of his really variety of styles of writing. Yeah, basically that. And there aren't much differences apart from being from a different country and writing and the style of writing. Now we can talk for a really long time, because between Boccaccio and Chaucer there are many similarities, believe me. Why? Well, first of all, they were the first two to ever stop seeing their poetry with a religious eye, and they stopped talking about God, the faith, and all that stuff. They were the sign of the end of the medieval mindset, because instead of talking about faith, God, and providence, they start talking about real life things, concrete things, and even pretty gross things in their scripts and in their books. They were the first one to ever see the world in a different way, in a more pragmatic way, if we can say so, rather than the religious way. And that's the key thing. But apart from that, there are a lot more differences, stricter differences, as for example the similarity between the Decameron and the Canterbury Tales. Why? First of all, even if we take a really fast look we can clearly see that the Decameron and the Canterbury Tales have a really similar structure. So, in the Decameron, there are 10 characters, each of them has to tell a tale each day. Similarly, in the Canterbury Tales, every character during the pilgrimage had to tell a story to entertain the others while traveling. Now, even if the time is even if the times during which the stories take place are really different, because the Decameron took place in 2 weeks, while the Canterbury Tales took place in pretty much 1 or 2 days, just 1 day maybe, and that's just the tale, because apart from the structure there are a lot more similarities. So both the Decameron and the Canterbury Tales have a lot of irony and often pull jokes against the belief of the time on the religion, and both of them had really strange characters, really strange, and these were the similarities, and that's it. But I forgot to say, that was not the only similarity. Canterbury Tales and Cameron was so similar that Chaucer even cited a tale from Sir Giovanni Boccaccio in the book Canterbury Tales, and that's the last tale, the Clerk's Tale, who talks about Griselda, which was married to the Duke of Saluzzo. And the plot, I'm gonna say it pretty briefly, because that's not the key thing, even though it's really beautiful. It's the plot talks about they were married, but after some times the Duke of Saluzzo starts testing her in some cruel ways, like killing their sons and giving them away, and and even leaving her. But the Griselda still was good to him and continued being loyal to him. What is the moral? The moral is that you have, even whatever your man does to you, you have to keep being loyal, because when he'll leave you, he will cry and despair for leaving you. Alright, that said, that was originally a tale of Boccaccio's tale, Griselda's tale. But that's not the only strange thing. That's not a theft. Chaucer just mentioned Boccaccio, but a thing that's a theft, if we can say that, is the first tale, the Knight's Tale, that talks about the love of Palamon and Arcite for the Queen of the Amazons, Hippolyta. Now, even though if the original Boccaccio version was really a bit different, there were some different names, it's pretty much Chaucer pretty much copied, even though we still don't know if the original tale is from Chaucer or Boccaccio. So yeah, a lot of similarities as you can see. All right. So let's go further. Now it's time for some interesting facts that not everyone might know. So between oh yeah, just a second. I forgot to show you a really important thing that's needed for telling this story that I'm gonna tell you now. If you see here, Geoffrey Chaucer and Boccaccio are pretty much contemporary. They are separated from only 13 years, pretty much. And so that's it. Let's return. All right. Yeah. Between the 30 and the 30s, between 30 and 50, Chaucer was in Florence for a diploma mission. He had to get the diploma in Florence, and he was asking for a loan the Garby's bank, with which, really fun fact, also Boccaccio and Boccaccio's father were partnered with. So without even knowing, they went to the same bank without having no clue, basically. Although there is no evidence that Boccaccio and Chaucer ever met. There is no evidence, but we can really see the influence of Boccaccio on Chaucer, and that he studied him really, really hard. That Chaucer studied Boccaccio really, really passionately. All right. They were pretty much yeah, I already say that. So, in conclusion, Boccaccio and Chaucer were two really fantastic writers that were the fathers of the New Ages and of the Italian and English language, and that completely changed the way of thinking and writing of all the past writers, and that will revolutionize the world. All right, so that's the end, and yeah, obviously, those are the sources from which I took almost all of my informations, but not all, because this book also helped me a lot. The Canterbury Tales, which gave me this summer, I liked it. It was really great. And yeah, bye and stay cool.